Hi friends, welcome to IT Board. In this session we are going to see about identity in SQL Server. What is meant by identity in a SQL Server? Identity is a column property. This property used with create table and alter table Transact SQL statements. When you insert a new record into your table, this will automatically assign an incremented value from the previous entry, and it continues its flow, same flow with the increment data what we had mentioned in the create table statements. So no need to give while in the insert statement, and we cannot insert your own value to this field. It's a syntax for that identity property, identity with the seed and increment. Seed is the first value that's used for the very first row loaded into the table, and the increment is the incremental value that is added to the identity value of the previous row it was loaded. Let us take the simplest example. Going to create table student ID, say integer field, marked as identity. It's a seed and incremental value is 10. It will give every row add with a 10 value, and we can mention 1, 1, that seed is 1, that is starting value is 1, and every row incremented value is 1. If we define that seed and increment, it will automatically consider 1, 1, that is seed is 1 and the incremented value is 1. So with name. So just create. So here I pass the value name. So now we fetch from the student table. So started value is 1, and again it gives a value so if you increment the value by what we had mentioned in the identity column. See, just drop the table student and I create with identity with 1 and incremental value is 10. Just execute and insert these values. Now fetch from this. Starting value is 1 and increment with 10. This is an incremental value. This is a seed. That means start value. So it will increment by every row with 10. By default is 1, 1. That is seed is 1 and incremental value is 1. So it returns like this format. We cannot insert the identity value. Let's check. Now we give that value. Will raise the error. Explicit value for the identity column in table can only be specified when a column list is used an identity insert on. So we cannot pass this value without passing an identity insert statement on. This is a create statement with the identity column. Okay, how can we get the inserted identity value? We can get the inserted identity value by using these three functions. One is added identity, and second one is scope identity, third one is current. So using these three functions we can get the last inserted value from the table. Let us check with this. Just passing that same value here. So it will give the here identity returns the last identity value generated in this session and any scope. Session and scope are not same. Session is based on the connection, and the scope is based on the immediate command text like store procedure, trigger. So session and scope is not same. Session is said here, the session is this. If you pass from this value in this new session, just keep A. In this session, the last inserted value is 5. In this session, last value is 4. So the session is different. This is session 1, this is session 2. It always return last generated value in this session only. That's added identity. So it returns the last identity value generated in this same session, and any scope in this same session. Okay. The second one is scope identity. In the same session and same scope. See, here I create one stored procedure for insert value to the student table, passing that name field. Insert into that student. Within this procedure, I just pass the insert command at name. So now we check with execute student clear OC. Pass with B. Here passing one insert statement and executing with the procedure. Here we fetch with the scope identity and identity. because these are both statement are in same session. But different scope. This is scope 1, scope 2. So last identity value from this student table is 5. Just going to insert with this data. See, set with student table. So that one data was inserted. That is from inserted statement. Going to check with C and D. Okay. See, the scope identity value is this is from scope 1. So this and this are from same scope. This is different scope. That is immediate command text to the statement, trigger, store procedures. This is other than the different scope. So we are first fetching the scope identity returns a same scope value. C is 7 and added identity returns a last identity from the same session and any scope. So these are the difference between scope identity and added identity. If we give like this, E and F. See, both are same. E and F, because E is inserted from the different scope and F and this first statement is same scope. So scope identity is last returns a last inserted identity value from the same scope and the same session. So this and this are in the same scope and added identity returns a value from this same session. So there is a difference between this and this. So it returns a different values. So identity returns the last identity value generated in the same scope, same session and any scope. Scope identity returns the last identity value generated in the same session and same scope. Same session and consider like this. Returns a last generated value from same session and any scope. Scope identity, same session and same scope. Okay. The third one is ident current. It is based on the any session and any scope. But by passing the table, its syntax is ident current with the table name. So at any session, see, I and this another session. So select ident current with that student table. It returned the last generated identity value from any session and any scope. It returned the last identity value from this particular table student. So same, see, if we inserted one j, return the 13 and return 13. Inserted in this session and fetching this result 14 and here 14. So these are the differences between these three functions used to return the last identity value by this session or scope. These are the simplest example for identity values. Assign identity value and how can we fetch the last identity value from the table. So we can use this whenever we need this facility. Hope this topic will be very useful to you. If you like this session, please like and subscribe. Thank you, friends.